I never know what to do with this, like, ever. In this video, I will be doing my response to Ramón and the hashtag onetarotcard. But first, I'm waiting in line for a cold brew. Oh yes. Let's do it. I am so beyond pumped to be making content again. I've really missed it. That being said, I absolutely needed a break. I haven't posted a video since very early May, and it is now almost late June. It's Juneteenth today, the 19th. I have been on a hiatus, and it was needed. My last 2 months at work have been incredibly stressful. My school year has wound down a lot. I'm not done yet. I still have work to do this upcoming week, but I am not seeing students anymore this school year. They are done. And so I just need to finish up what I need to do, and then I have a bit of a breather for a while. And in this time, my son has also turned 18. He has graduated high school and is now getting ready to move on to the next phase for him, which is Marine Corps boot camp. He leaves in August. But in the meantime, he's just having some downtime, having some fun, doing some fun things. He and a friend just went to Seattle. They went to a big concert. They got back last night. They had a great time. So he's just kind of doing the thing until the time comes where he'll be doing a lot of stuff that involves a lot of physical exertion and getting up at ungodly hours in the morning. So he's taking advantage of the downtime while he can. During this time, I was very much reminded of what it means to have an undefined sacral. If you speak human design, you might know what I'm referring to. But one of the not self themes for a chart with an undefined sacral like mine is not knowing when enough is enough, which has pretty much been the theme of my entire life. I will go and go and go and go and go, and I think I'm good, and then I will go some more, and then I reach a point where I'm not good at all, and I'm approaching the point of just crashing and burning severely. And I've gotten so much better at that over the years, but I still have a lot of work to do in that regard. Just reminding myself that my energy is finite. I work naturally in bursts. I go like crazy, and then I need to rest, and then I can go again, and then I need to rest. It's kind of like a sprinter. I also like to sprint, which is funny. Sprinting is one of my favorite ways to move my body. Is just that out of the gate zoom, and then you're done for a while. And in public education, especially toward the end of the year, there just aren't a lot of opportunities for the rest part. The go and go and go is pretty much constant, but the rest piece just isn't as frequent as it needs to be. I was pretty severely reminded of what that feels like, and I've learned my lesson yet again. Like I said, theme of my life. I've learned my lesson this time about pacing and taking it a bit easier than I have been, and I'm in a space where I can do that now. So I'm just working on the recovery piece, I suppose. But it's going to be, for me, recovery often involves action, but action that is energetically conducive to me and to things I want to create. And so recovery for me is going to be, active recovery. And part of that involves making content again. I have a lot in the works content wise. I haven't been posting, but I have been plotting, if you will. I have so many things I want to do. I have a bunch of stuff already mapped out. I have a few things already filmed, bits and pieces here and there for things that I intend to do. I have a little, I suppose, I guess I could call it a mini series that I'm going to do coming up soon. I have some very exciting, at least exciting for me, summer-oriented things planned. I'm going to do a special reading for summer, and I will probably film that. I haven't quite decided if I will. I might do the reading and then film kind of my afterthoughts on how it went. I'm not sure. I'll have to play that by ear and take that as it comes. For this video, I am going to do Ramon's really, really cool hashtag, which is onetarotcard. And I have brought a deck with me to walk through these prompts, and the deck I have brought is the Spacious Tarot. I will be posting photos of the cards that I choose wherever I have room, just so I don't have to like hold them up the entire time. But I will be using this deck to work through these prompts. The prompts he's come up with are so fun. They're so clever. They really provoke deeper contemplation, which is something I love. I love thinking about the tarot in new and meaningful and deeper ways. This tag just fits the bill for that completely. There are 10 prompts, 10 questions, and my plan for this is to take you with me sort of throughout my day. I'm on a little mini road trip today to a place that is very near and dear to my heart, and my intention is to just pop up whenever I get a moment and address one of the prompts for this tag. I will link Ramon's original video in the description box, as well as a list of the prompts, the questions, should you choose to follow along and maybe want to participate as well. And I will also provide timestamps for each prompt. I am now in a completely different parking lot from getting my cold brew, a totally different place, because the place I'm at now, they sell these little hazelnut wafer cookies that I adore, and I cannot find anywhere else, and so I'm going to go see if I can acquire them. They were out of my wafers. I'm so sad. Since I'm here, I may as well go ahead and do prompt number 1. And the question for this prompt is, which card most inspires you? And I didn't think too terribly long or hard about any of these. I just kind of go with what intuitively came to me first. And the card I'm choosing for this question is the Six of Cups. Once again, I'll put a photo where there's space, just so I don't have to hold the card the entire time. The Six of Cups for me is a really special card. This was my favorite minor arcana card before I really even knew what any of the deeper, more layered esoteric and astrological connections were. I loved it even before then, but after I learned what some of those were, I loved it even more just because of how relevant they were for me. So the Six of Cups astrologically represents Sun in Scorpio, and that is my sun sign. I have Sun in Scorpio. And Six of Cups also represents second decan Scorpio, so the middle of Scorpio season, when that season is the most fixed, I suppose. And that is my birth decan. I was born in early November. So my birth decan is second decan Scorpio, and Six of Cups represents that particular time. The reason why I love this card so much is because of the feeling that it evokes. It's cups, so, you know, feelings are automatically there. But the six is a very important number to me. It's my life path number. It's also highly associated with Venus. Venus is my chart ruler, my natal chart ruler. I'm a Taurus rising, so Venus rules my chart. So there's a lot of connection to this card for me. And Six of Cups is always an inspiration to me as far as really taking in and integrating those experiences you have in your life that are meaningful and aligned with you. Sixes for me, or my main keynote for six is alignment. Six is that it's that position of being in an experience that is just so completely correct for you, or not, depending on the context of the reading and the question. But in a positive aspect, sixes for me it's very serendipitous almost. It's that kind of right place, right time to have that feeling or experience kind of situation. And it's always, and every time Six of Cups comes up for me in a reading and I see it, it's just always a reminder to me to allow those experiences to happen. Maybe contemplate experiences like that I've had in the past and just kind of immerse myself in that feeling. There's also the Rider-Waite-Smith keynoting for this card of memories or nostalgia or childhood. And I don't automatically see it that way, but sometimes I do, particularly if it's an experience that I'm recalling that happened in my youth that's relevant to the reading at hand, or the meditation at hand, or the visualization at hand, or the contemplation at hand, or whatever I'm doing as far as how I'm engaging with the cards at that time. But Six of Cups has always been an inspirational card to me, just because of that sense of being emotionally aligned. And cups are also relationships for me. So those people, finding those people and hanging on to those people and loving and appreciate and honoring those people that make you feel whole, that make you feel, when you are with them, you feel like you are exactly where you are supposed to be at that time. And if you have friends like that, then, or family members or people in your life like that, then you know what that means and how special it is. And it's just a reminder to me to always treasure those experiences and those people. I'm always inspired by Six of Cups when it comes up, just because it's very highly connected to me personally, and it just prompts me to immerse myself in those experiences, or contemplate an experience that maybe I would like to have that evokes that same feeling. So that's prompt number 1. I just consumed about 1,000 calories worth of tiramisu, and I regret nothing. It was so good. And while I'm letting that simmer in there, I'll go ahead and answer prompt number 2, which is, which card is the most distressing to you? I don't know if any card is really overly distressing to me, honestly, but the closest answer I could come up with for this one, and I've mentioned this before, how this is my least favorite card in the deck, and when it comes up, I do a little bit of a cringy cringe, just because I don't know. I still struggle with it a little bit, and it's not one of the like the biggie scary ones like the Tower or Judgment or Death. You know, I'm good with those. You know, I'm a Scorpio sun, and my chart ruler Venus is in my 8th house. So bring it. My least favorite card in the deck is the Hanged Man, or the Hanged One in this case. I made a whole video about the Hangman and my personal shadowy issues with this card. I'll link it in case you're interested. But I like this depiction a little bit better, because this brings in a little bit more of that perspective piece, and I like that. I do like that interpretation of the Hangman, as seeing things from a different angle. And I like this one. I like this one in particular because it's a reminder to me that, you know, we're just a speck on an orb that is orbiting another orb along with other orbs, you know, that are far grander and greater than we are. And it's really that macrocosmic, microcosmic kind of view. And I like this interpretation of the hangman. I tend to struggle with traditional depictions of the figure hanging upside down being suspended from the ankle, just because it implies that loss of control. Even if it's you're willingly surrendering to the loss of control, it's still that's still a challenge for me. It's a thing. And majors for me are that bigger energy that we often don't really have any say over, kind of. It's kind of that divinely orchestrated movement of things, where the minors are things maybe you have a little bit more influence over. The majors are like, we're going to do whatever we want, you know. But I have this thing where I just don't like the sense of not being in control. And part of that is a survival thing, and part of it is most likely a shadowy thing that I've dealt with, you know, throughout my life. But what this reminds me of, though, is the fact that we are so small in relation to other things. And I remember being probably 7 or 8. I was young. And I remember one day just feeling so angry at everything, at the whole world, the entire universe, because I realized there was no possible way that I could ever know and understand everything. And that made me mad. It made me sad, and it made me mad, just because there's so much to know and I just want to know all the things. But I've realized over the years, you know, obviously that's not how this works. and you know, that the element of mystery is still, it's important for us, you know, because if we knew everything, then what's the point, kind of, at least in my view. So whenever I see the hangman, I am kind of reminded of that moment when I realized I couldn't know everything, and then accepting the fact that that's okay. But still, whenever that card shows up, particularly when it's a more traditional depiction of a figure being suspended upside down, and I don't like being upside down physically. I don't like it. It makes me feel ill, and it's just, as a whole, I just don't like it very much. But I've worked through it quite a bit this year, and I'm actually really proud of the work that I've done with that card. I've been dealing with those themes of surrender and acceptance, because things are happening and I really have no choice in the matter. So it's just moving through. It's a lot of just not necessarily even dealing with, but just moving through and experiencing. So I suppose that's the closest answer I have to prompt number 2 of which card do you find the most distressing. I think I might go have ice cream. No, I can't eat ice cream. So I think I'm going to go for a walk instead. And then I'll probably address question number 3 on the walk. So while I'm digesting my tiramisu, I thought I'd take myself for a walk and go ahead and answer prompt number 3, which is, which card is the most enigmatic to you? So enigma implies an element of mystery. And my first inclination was to say the High Priestess. And I still think that that's true to an extent. However, I think I'll take that up a notch and say Judgment. So Judgment and the High Priestess both carry the frequency of the 2. High Priestess is 2, Judgment is 20. 2s for me are about the process of receptivity, being receptive, the yin. Judgment for me, though, is a little bit more than that. It is about receiving something from somewhere bigger than you. You don't necessarily know where the information is coming from. You just know it to be true for you. And for me, that holds a lot of mystery, I suppose. If we want to bring in some astrological correspondence, the influencer, planetary influencer of judgment is Pluto. Pluto is very mysterious. You know, poor thing, it's not even a planet anymore. It's small and cold and obsolete, I guess, at this point, if we're not even considering it a part of our solar system anymore. I don't know. But Pluto definitely has that enigmatic air to it. So as far as that goes, I will say Judgment is the most enigmatic card to me. I just went into a metaphysical store and I didn't buy anything. I did, however, go into about 6 other stores and came out with a brick of masala chai and a shirt that says, "I believe in fairies." I'm a Western Washington girl. It had to be done. Right now, I will go ahead and answer prompt number 4, which is a really good one. It is, what card would you put into a 1,000-year time capsule for future mankind? Ramón, your questions are so good. The card I chose for this prompt is the World. The World is, in essence, a sense of completion, of going through a cycle, finishing that cycle, and then promptly moving into whatever comes next, whatever that looks like for you. And you have all this time and opportunity and experience moving through these cycles, and it's just a reminder for me that life is what you make it. And all you can do is the best that you can do with what you're given in the environment that you're in. And it's up to you what you do with that. Some of us are more privileged than others as far as what is available to us. And it's up to us how we move through that. The World for me can also be about self-actualization. Kind of, if we're speaking from like a psychology perspective, it can be sort of that point when you realize kind of what it's all about for you. I would just want to encourage future humans to, you know, don't stop seeking that. Don't ever stop seeking that. Don't ever stop seeking what makes you tick and what makes you fulfilled. And it's a reminder too that sometimes it's not about the finding. Sometimes the finding is just a bit anticlimactic, or you never find it, but you go through a process, and it's that process that shapes who you are. So you determine what that looks like for you. So that's prompt number 4. I just went into yet another store. This one a little organic market, because they have really, really good spinach lasagna, and I was really hoping they would have some. And so I'm going to work on eating this. And answer prompt number 5. And hopefully not be obnoxious while talking while I'm eating. So prompt number 5 is, what card would you use to represent the flag for your newly created country? Or something along those lines. I had a hard time with this one. This one took me longer than the others have. But what I finally settled on is the Lovers, which might be kind of an odd choice. But the Lovers for me can be about unity. And again, Lovers is 6. There's that alignment piece. Aligning oneself with what's correct for you. And between that and the piece about unity, I think that's important. If there was a new nation or organization or any kind of newly formed group of individuals united in a common purpose. You know, that unity aspect is really important. The Lovers is also often about choice and thinking about the choices that you make and how they don't just affect you, but they affect those around you. You know, we don't all exist in a vacuum. We all influence each other. It's just the way it is. It's the way we work. And so it's a reminder that we can be united in our choices that we make as far as creating something beneficial for the group. So good. So, and the Lovers in the Spacious Tarot is, I believe they're DNA strands, which is kind of perfect for this question, just because DNA it's the building blocks of life. It's the blueprint for us, for living entities in a newly formed group of people, organization, nation, whatever it is. You know, what's going to be the blueprint for your creation, I suppose. Still not entirely sure about that, but it's the first thing I thought of that actually kind of made sense to me. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with the Lovers for the flag for my newly created country. I think most of the rest of these prompts are going to be probably when I get home, just because I'm kind of heading that way back now. I don't know how many more times I'm going to stop, so halfway through. So the second half will be probably mostly coming from one place. So I'm going to eat a bit more lasagna, then I'm going to start driving. And it's 2 days later. I honestly don't know when this is going to get uploaded. I left off on question number 6. I just finished prompt 5. So now we'll move on to prompt 6, which is, which card would you use to represent mankind to an alien civilization? And the card I chose for that is my favorite card in the tarot, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And I chose the wheel because I don't know if any other card represents us as people, at least to me, as well. The wheel represents the inevitability of change and evolution and moving out of old things and going into new things. And in the Spacious Tarot wheel, I particularly like it that the wheel is depicted as seasons. We as humans, and in fact, you know, most living things on our planet, we move through cycles. We move through seasons and phases of life. And it's inevitable. They happen whether we want them to or not. But it's a matter of, again, how we move through that. In many traditional depictions of the wheel, we have sort of a center in the middle of the spokes, if there are spokes in the wheel. And a lot of just navigating through the change is how close can we stay in that middle, in that center, to where the effect of moving through the change isn't as drastic or negative as it potentially could be if we were out on the edge, feeling that intensity a little bit more. So it's just, for me, very much, it's a very human card of just the inevitability of change and evolution and how we as a species, how we experience our existence, cyclical and seasonal. So that is my answer for number 6. Question number 7 is, which card represents someone you love? And I actually had to go back and look at this. Again, I didn't take too long, but I realized, again, moving through this change in my family dynamic, just how my son has progressed in his life and his behavior and his everyday activities. And my son, for me, has always been Page of Swords. He's always been Page of Swords. He is the Page of Swords to me. That is his significator, at least from my perspective. He's a Gemini, Sun, and Mercury. He's very air. He's very mercurial. And his mind is always just going. And he likes to research and learn new things. And he always has. That's how he's always been. But as I thought about that further, I realized that he is moving into what I would consider more night energy. And so I chose the Knight, or in this case, the Explorer. The Knights are explorers in this deck. The Explorer of Swords. Now, I mentioned in my court cards video how Knights for me are the fire of their suit. And for me, this actually represents him quite well because he is Gemini Sun, but he's also Leo rising. And his rising sign, I feel, has only really just started to come out a little bit. He's showing more and more indicators and signs of that confidence and that leadership ability. And I think, graduating high school and knowing what's before him, that has come out a little bit more. He's very watery too. He has Moon and Venus in Cancer, so he's got a very strong water aspect, and I feel his water has really kind of dominated, not as much as the air, but has played a big part in sort of the externalization of his behavior. But I'm noticing his Leo rising is coming out a little bit more, and so for me, the Explorer of Swords, Knight of Swords, fire of air, it's a very fitting energy for him at this time as he is moving into the next phase of his life. So that's my answer to prompt 7. Prompt 8. Which card would you choose as the cover of your autobiography? I like this question a lot. And I kind of sort of defaulted to a court card just because court cards for me are behavior and they represent people often in many situations. But then I thought, no, that's not right. And then the next card that immediately came to mind for this prompt is the 10 of Coins or Pentacles. As far as minors go, the 10 of Coins or Pentacles for me is the closest card I have an association with to ancestors and legacy. It's that long-term material starting, building, laying the foundation, maintaining, evolving, and leaving it for whoever is to come after you. And I think this concept of legacy for me is really important, again, because of the phase of life that I'm beginning to move into, but also in relation to the students that I have worked with over the last nearly 13 years. All of those kids that have come and go from my life, and the students that I will work with in the years to come. And it just prompts me to consider, what am I leaving them? How am I influencing them? And how in turn are they influencing others? So this whole idea of legacy and leaving something for someone else is very important to me right now in this particular stage that I'm in. So 10 of Pentacles is the card I would choose for my autobiography cover. It's a great question. Question number 9. If you could upgrade a minor card to major arcana status, what would it be? This is by far the easiest prompt for me because I've always felt this way. And I'm cheating a little bit because it's not one card, it's a set. It's a numerical set. And that would be the aces. The aces in the tarot for me have a magic that whenever I get one in a reading, I almost get more excited to see an ace than a major. Whenever I see an ace, it fills me with this, woo, kind of energy because, it's that origin. It's the gift that is being given to us. It's transversing that liminal space from macrocosm to microcosm. It's coming from something bigger and it's being handed to you and whatever that looks like for you. But the aces for me have always had that feeling. And even if you look at how the minors are broken down as far as the decans are concerned, the aces aren't included in the decans. 2 through 10 are included, the aces are not. And for me, that makes sense to me, because the aces for me are they're almost not even majors. They're almost something completely different unto themselves. And you still sort of get the 1 energy in the decan breakdown through the 10, just because that 1 is present in the 10. But the aces themselves aren't included. They're something else. And they always have that that extra sort of little something. When I see one show up in a reading, I tend to get excited, especially if it's a reading I'm doing for a longer term, like a longer term contemplation. If an ace shows up, I tend to get excited a little bit. So yeah, the aces, all 4 of them, they would all be elevated to major status, although they are sort of something else entirely for me. But I think of them more major-like than minor-like, definitely, for sure. So that's my answer to that. Last, final prompt. Prompt number 10. If you could mentor one of the pages, which would it be? Again, these questions are fabulous. They're deeper and allow for some really interesting and insightful contemplation. And I just so appreciate tags like this with prompts and questions like this. And I thought about this one too a little bit longer than I have the others. And I thought Page of Swords, because that's my son's card, but it's like, no, I feel like I've kind of already, he's 18 now. It's just like, I feel like I've already kind of done that. And so I thought, okay, well, which one would I kind of default to next? And the one I ended up choosing is the Page of Cups, or in this case, the Child of Cups. The courts in this deck are Child, Explorer, Guardian, Elder. I believe that's the order. But the Child are the pages, which I think is very appropriate. Page energy for me is really important. And I think it's often overlooked a little bit in its importance and place in the tarot. Page energy is the beginning. It's, for me, pages take that energy of the ace and they begin to give it form. Pages for me are the earth of their suit. They begin to ground that ace energy, give it form, so it can move through the embodiment of the rest of the courts from page to king. And I chose the Page of Cups because cups concern feelings, emotions. And in the page's case, in my perspective, it's giving form to a new feeling, grounding a feeling, making it real, bringing it into what we would consider reality. And feelings can be scary. They can be wonderful, and they often are, but they can also be scary things to navigate. And I'm no expert in the realm of feelings. I'm not saying I am, but I feel connected to young people, especially who are moving through sort of this the tumultuous realm of new emotions and feeling things for the first time. I work with middle schoolers for that context. So the students I work with are approximately aged 10 through 14. So, that age range that, is really cool and exciting, but it can also sometimes make you want to pull your hair out if you have one that age or you work with kids that age sometimes. But yeah, navigating feelings can be hard. Embodying feelings for the first time can be really tricky business. And so I feel that it's really important that there are people in this world who can help other people in that embodiment move through that process in a way that is healthy and productive and good for that person, so that they in turn can move through those feelings and have healthy relationships with others. That is the end. That was the last prompt. That is the end. So I will wrap this up here. Like I said, I have more stuff coming. I'm going to be doing some things that are a little bit different, things that I haven't done before, that in relation to tarot kind of in my everyday life. I'm very excited to bring these new inspirations that I've had to you. And hopefully you will get something out of them. So, okay, I'm going to leave this one here because I have more things to film. Today is the solstice. I have plans. Things are happening. So I'll leave this one here for now. But until next time, take care and be well.